guys, welcome to Maths with Miss Ribs. Today I thought I'd give you a quick sneak at the face behind the voice. Welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. I know fractions is not the most loved topic of maths, but I hope today's video will help you be able to add and subtract fractions like a pro. So let's get started. We're going to start off easy and we're going to look at adding fractions with the same denominator. So this is going to be pretty easy. If they have the same denominator, you should be smiling because there's only two steps. The first step is we're going to keep the denominator, whatever it is, keep it the same, and then we're just going to add or subtract the numerator. So if you look at the first example, 5 6s plus 3 6s, we're happy. We see that the denominators are the same, so we just add 5 plus 3 is 8 over 6. However, we notice, or you should notice, that 8 over 6 is an improper fraction. And we can't leave our answer as an improper fraction. We've got to change that to a mixed number. So if you change that to a mixed number, you would get 1 and 2 6s. Now 1 and 2 6s again can be simplified. The way we simplify is by checking what number can go into 2 and 6, which is 2, can go into both those numbers. So 2 divided by 2 is 1 and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So you're going to get an answer of 1 1/3. Now, if you maybe forgot or you don't know how to change an improper fraction to a mixed number, or you don't know or can't remember how to simplify fractions, please go and have a look at my video on the basics of fractions. Okay, let's do another example. Our next example is 1/12 plus 4/12. Again, the denominators are the same, so we just add the numerators. We get 5 over 12. Pretty easy, you can't simplify that. The next example I've added in a mixed number sum. So here, both these denominators are 10, so that's great. What you can do is add the whole numbers first. 2 plus 1 is 3, and then we simply add the numerators. 3 plus 1 is 4, and we leave 10 as 10. Don't add the denominator. If you write 4 over 20, then you are getting the wrong answer. Now here again, you should notice that 4 tenths can be simplified. Again, if we divide by 2, we're going to get 2 fifths, 3 and 2 fifths. Okay, now let's go to some subtraction sums. Okay, our first example, 3/4 minus 1/4. Again, denominators are the same, so we keep the denominator and just subtract the numerators. 3 minus 1 is 2. What do we notice? We can simplify to a half. Another example, 7/8 minus 2/8. Subtract numerators, we get 5, and the 8 stays 8. We do not say 8 minus 8, because then you're going to get a 0, and we cannot divide by 0 in any case. You cannot have 5 over 0. The next example, I've added put two mixed numbers which we're going to subtract from each other. And if you do it in the same way you did the addition sum, you would say 2 minus 1, 2 minus 1, you'd get 1. But then we're left with 1 6 minus 5 6s. So I do not teach children to do mixed numbers in the same way. I'm going to show you now how you should do your sums when it comes to mixed numbers. Okay, so when we add and subtract mixed numbers, there's one extra step that you need to do. And that step is to change any mixed numbers into improper fractions. If we look at the first example, and I use the tick method, I say 2 times 10 plus 3. 2 times 10 is 20 plus 3 is 23 over 10, the same denominator. The next one, I say 1 times 10 is 10, plus 1 is 11 over 10. Now you follow the same steps. The denominators are the same, so you keep it. Just add the numerators. I get 34 over 10. That's an improper fraction. Change it to a mixed number. Ooh, we notice we can simplify 4 tenths to 3 and 2 fifths. So this one seems maybe a bit longer. But when you do subtraction, it works out perfectly. So again, I'm going to change mixed number, 2 times 6 is 12 plus 1 is 13. I change it from mixed to improper. 13 over 6 minus 1 times 6 is 6 plus 5 is 11 over 6. Then I subtract my numerators. I get 2 over 6 and I simplify that to 1 over 3, a third. Okay, so that's how we work with fractions that have the same denominators. Where children struggle is when the denominators are different. And so we're going to do it in 4 steps. Have a look at the first example. So the way I teach it is we're going to do what I call cross multiplication. We're going to multiply 4 times 2, then we're going to multiply 5 times 1, and then the last thing is to multiply the denominators. So this is how your first step will look. You say 4 times 2 you get 8, plus 5 times 1 you get 5, over, what's 5 times 2? 10. Add the numerators. I get 13 over 10, which is an improper fraction, and I change that to a mixed number. And I can't simplify that, so that is my final answer. Let's do another one. Example 2. Again, cross multiply. 4 times 4, 7 times 3, and then the denominator, 7 times 4. I'm going to get 16 plus 21, which is 7 times 3. That's how I got the 21. Over, how do I get 28? 7 times 4. Multiply the denominators. I add those two numbers. You get 37 over 28. Again, it's an improper fraction. So the mixed number would be 1 and 9 over 28. And that can't be simplified. So we are done. So as you see from these two examples, there are 4 steps. The first step is to multiply diagonally. Cross multiply. Okay? Then multiply your denominators. Then we add the numerators like we did when the denominators were the same. And then lastly, we're going to change improper to mixed and then simplify if possible. Let's do another example. Here you're going to say 3 times 2, then 1 times 10 or 10 times 1, and lastly 10 times 2. So your sum, the next step, looks like this. 6 plus 10 over 20. That's 16 over 20, which can be simplified to 4 over 5. We divided 16 and 20 by 4 to get 4 over 5, 4/5. Okay, another example. Let's do a subtraction sum this time. Same steps. I'm going to say 5 times 4. Then I'm going to say 6 times 1. And it's very important that you start with these numbers first, okay? And then you do the next one. Then you do 6 times 1. And lastly, I multiply 6 times 4 to get my denominator. So that would look 20 minus 6 over 24, which is 14 over 24. And we can simplify this to 7 over 12. Again, we divided the numerator and the denominator by 2. Try and do example 5 on your own. So pause the video and see if you can do this one on your own, and then play when you're done and see if you're understanding how to do the cross multiply and then multiply denominators. Alright, boys and girls, so first we're going to say 7 times 3, then 9 times 2, then 9 times 3. So 7 times 3 is 21, minus 9 times 2 is 18, and the denominator is 9 times 3, which is 27. If you say 21 minus 18, you get 3, and 3 over 27 can be simplified to 1 over 9. I divided by 3 to get 1 over 9. Example 6, again we say 3 times 2, and you can go ahead and draw these oval rings around the numbers in your test if that helps you. So I'm going to say 3 times 2 is 6. Then I'm going to subtract it by 5 times 1. And then I'm going to multiply 5 times 2. So you would get 6 minus 5 over 10, which is 1/10. Okay, now let's go and look at adding and subtracting mixed numbers. Now we're going to add an extra step, which, if you remember, we have to always change mixed numbers to improper fractions. So that's our step that we are adding. Remember the tick method. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13 over 6. We do the same here. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 is 7 over 4. So it's 13 over 6 minus 7 over 4. Then you follow the steps. Cross multiply. 13 times 4, which is 52, and 6 times 7, which is 42, over 6 times 4, 24. 52 minus 42 over 24. I get 10 over 24. Do you notice you can simplify? Yes. Divide both by 2. You're going to get 5 over 12. Let's do another example. Again, we have some mixed numbers, and we're adding this time. So we're going to think of our tick. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11 over 4. Plus 1 times 5 is 5. Plus 2 is 7. 7 over 5. So you got 11 over 4 plus 7 over 5. Then we cross multiply. 11 times 5 is 55. Plus, yes, 4 times 7 is 28 over 20. 55 plus 28 over 20. That gets you to 83 over 20, which we realize is an improper fraction. So 20 can go into 83 4 times. There's a remainder of 3 over 20. Right, for example 9, I'd like you to pause the video and try and do this one on your own. Remember, first change mixed numbers to improper fractions. We're going to carry on now. So again, 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So it will be 7 over 2 minus 1 times 4 is 4 plus 1 is 5 over 4. So it looks like this. 7 over 2 minus 5 over 4. Again, cross multiply and then multiply the denominators. So 7 times 4 is 28 minus 5 times 2 or 2 times 5 is 10 over 8. How did I get 8? I said 2 times 4. If you subtract 28 minus 10, you'll get 18 over 8, which you should recognize immediately is an improper fraction. How many times can 8 go into 18? Twice. And then there's a remainder of 2. 2 over 8 can be simplified. If we divide by 2, you should get an answer of 2 1/4. And our final last example for today, if you want to pause and try to do this one on your own, I'm going to carry on now with the answers. So first step, let's change to an improper fraction. You should get 5 over 2. And for the second mixed number, you should get 8 over 3. Once you have the improper fractions, cross multiply. You're going to get 15 plus 16 over 6. And that's 31 over 6, which we know again is an improper fraction. 6 goes into 31 5 times, remainder 1 over 6. So I hope you guys understood this. Please leave a comment below if you understand how to use this method to add and subtract fractions. It works every time. You can use this method, the cross multiplying and multiplying the denominators, even if you have fractions with the same denominator. You can still use this method. So hope to see you guys next time. Take care.